Welcome to the Deep Dive Books channel, where we hope you find something valuable every day.
We continued discussing David Yeager's book, 10 to 25, The Science of Motivating Young People. This is the sixth part of our interpretation. There's a saying, "I've heard many wise words, yet I still can't live my life well." Yeager's book actually proves that wise words are useful. The book presents several experiments where participants were divided into two groups. One group received some guidance before taking a test, while the other took the test directly. The results showed that the group that listened to the advice performed significantly better. And in some cases, just hearing it once had lasting effects for years. It's almost like a magic spell. Of course, the premise is that the advice is genuinely insightful, and the listener truly absorbs it, putting it into practice, receiving positive feedback, and ultimately changing their behavior. The book contains several of these spells, including what we previously discussed: wise feedback, collaborative troubleshooting, and transparency statement, along with several other cognitive highlights we will explore. At critical moments, simply saying these to someone can immediately enhance their performance. I recommend keeping a notebook to record these. These are scientifically validated buffs. You should also accumulate a few go-to stories in your own life, preferably real cases from around you. When you find yourself in a situation where you need to say a few words, share one of them and deliver an insight. The cases are yours, but the way you present them matters. You need to structure and sequence them properly for the best effect. We'll get to that later. Today's topic is how to deal with stress. In modern life, people face all kinds of stress. Maybe you have an important project that must be completed on time with high quality, but progress is slow. Maybe you have a crucial interview coming up, and you're too anxious to sleep. Maybe something has happened at home, and you don't know how to handle it. You think to yourself, adulting is so hard. Traditionally, Western beliefs hold that stress is debilitating, that it's inherently a bad thing. A protector mindset would suggest reducing stress. Perhaps by lowering your ambitions and taking on less work, or by taking a few days off. Enforcer mindset would say that stress is just life's test. You either endure it or you don't. Both are either avoiding or resisting stress, rather than dealing with it scientifically. Chinese people tend to be more optimistic. We like to say, turn stress into motivation. But how exactly do you do that? Mentor mindset should maintain high standards with high support. Because without extra support, how can someone just automatically turn stress into motivation? On our channel, we've discussed stress many times, and 2 points we've repeatedly emphasized remain absolutely correct. 1. It's not the stressful event itself that determines your fate, but your reaction to it. 2. There are two ways to perceive stress: as a threat or as a challenge. If you view stress as a challenge rather than a threat, your response will be much better. In this book, Yeager integrates the latest scientific understanding of stress from the past decade and presents a more complete framework. In fact, we now have a new science of stress. And with it, a simple and effective new method. Stress is a uniquely human psychological phenomenon. AI doesn't experience stress. If you ask ChatGPT an extremely difficult question, or if too many users are online at the same time and its computing power is stretched thin, it will still respond normally. At most, it may slow down a bit. But it will never say, "I can't take it anymore, buddy. I'm under too much pressure." Humans, on the other hand, often underperform under stress. The reason humans experience stress is that our bodies operate in 3 different modes. One is the normal mode, where there is no stress. But when a stressful event occurs, say, an ancient hunter-gatherer encounters a wild beast in the jungle, he will enter one of 2 stress modes. 1. Active response. Fight or flight. This is like a computer running in overclocked mode. 2. Passive response. Freezing in fear, waiting to be eaten. This is like entering low-power mode. The key insight is that the active stress response is beneficial. It actually enhances performance, making you better than usual. So when someone says, "I'm under a lot of stress lately," what they really mean is that they're experiencing a passive stress response, making them function worse than normal. You don't need to eliminate stress. You need to eliminate the negative response to stress. We must distinguish between two things. Stressor. The event that causes stress. Stress response. Your reaction to the stressor. Your performance is not determined by the stressor, but by your response to it. And what determines your stress response? Your assessment of the stressor. You evaluate two things. 1. The demands of the stressor. E.g., how difficult an exam is. 2. Your available resources. E.g., your current level of preparation. Here's what the latest stress research shows. If you believe your resources are insufficient to meet the demands, you'll perceive stress as a threat, triggering the passive response. If you believe you have enough resources, you'll perceive stress as a challenge, triggering the active response. These two responses affect the body in completely different ways. Threat response. Your blood vessels constrict, reducing blood flow to your limbs, to minimize blood loss if injured. Your body releases more cortisol, suppressing inflammation from potential wounds. Your testosterone levels drop, making you feel less confident. You feel more anxious, your body stiffens, and your performance drops. This is the waiting to be eaten state. Challenge response. Your blood vessels dilate, increasing blood flow to your muscles and brain, supplying more oxygen. Cortisol levels drop because you don't care about getting hurt right now. Testosterone levels rise, boosting confidence and motivation. You feel less anxious and perform better than usual. You're ready for action. From these principles, we can draw two key conclusions. 1. In modern life, we rarely need the passive stress response. You're unlikely to face a wild animal attack. Unless you're in immediate physical danger. Like an unavoidable car crash, where minimizing blood loss matters. You don't want your body freezing up. Instead, you should always aim to enter the challenge response. 2. Whether you see stress as a threat or a challenge, is a matter of perception. You tell your body how to react. If you believe you can handle it, it's not a threat. We shouldn't lower standards. The challenge remains the same. The key is assessing your available resources. If you have an exam next week and you're unprepared, it feels like a threat. But if you seek help from a tutor, classmates, or AI, and reallocate time to study, suddenly, you have more resources than you thought. A good mentor doesn't remove the stressor. They increase support. If you can mobilize enough resources, stress becomes motivation. Or you can take an even simpler approach. Just decide that stress enhances performance. A Harvard experiment had students take the GRE math test. One group took it normally. The other group read a 5-minute article beforehand, explaining that feeling nervous is actually beneficial. Heart rate increases, deeper breathing, sweating. All of these boost cognitive function. The results? The control group scored an average of 705. The stress-informed group scored 770. A difference big enough to shift them from average grad schools to elite programs. And this effect was reproducible. This is cognitive power at work. A scientifically proven buff. So, instead of eliminating stressors, we should reinterpret the situation as a challenge. Then stress truly becomes a source of motivation. This is why some competitive players may perform at an average level in practice but become energized during official competitions, often delivering their best performances in high-stakes scenarios. People say they have a strong mindset, but the truth is, you can achieve this too. A more comprehensive approach is the standardized intervention protocol developed by Yeager and his collaborators, known as synergistic mindsets. This framework emphasizes instilling two key mindsets in high-pressure situations. The first is the growth mindset, a concept you may already be familiar with, pioneered by Carol Dweck. It is the belief that human abilities are not fixed but can continuously develop. Stressful situations often represent significant moments. Perfect opportunities for growth. The second is the belief that stress enhances performance. Your stress is like a stimulant. Similar to gaining a power-up in a video game. If your heart starts racing and your palms get sweaty, that's great. It means you're in the zone. When someone internalizes these two ideas, they adopt a synergistic mindset. Like reaching a boss battle in a game, a moment rich with opportunities to level up. Instead of fearing the challenge, they should be eager to take it on. Studies show that, just 20 to 30 minutes of synergistic mindset intervention can significantly improve how individuals perform under stress. This effect is particularly striking among disadvantaged students in underprivileged areas. 5 days after the intervention, their cortisol levels were lower, and their sense of well-being was higher. A year later, their exam pass rates were still noticeably better than those of the control group. A small intervention can yield such impressive results. Moreover, if a mentor steps in at the right moment with a supportive message saying something like, "This challenge is designed to help you improve, not to eliminate you. It's completely normal to feel nervous, and I fully understand. But don't worry. I've got your back." The positive effects can double. These findings offer profound insights. It turns out that, how we use our bodies is a subject worth studying. The body remains the same, yet with the right mindset, we can alter its state. Who knows what untapped potential lies beyond? Stress is the byproduct of facing important and difficult challenges. It's the invisible badge of adulthood. If you want to cultivate talent, you shouldn't reduce stress. You should increase challenges. But the key is providing enough support to ensure they have the necessary resources. After all, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. But first, I need to survive. The most practical takeaway? Instead of resorting to superstitions before an exam, like praying for divine intervention or having parents wear symbolic outfits for good luck, it's far more effective to spend 5 minutes reviewing the science of stress and mentally preparing yourself to adopt a challenge mindset. For example, you could reread today's lesson right before your next big challenge. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.